Hello and welcome. It's just after 5:30 p.m. in New Delhi, 7 in the evening in Jakarta and 1 in the afternoon in London. And you're watching our continuing coverage here on DD India of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Indonesia. We are standing by for the Prime Minister's address to the Indian community in Jakarta. And with me is my colleague, Sakal Bhatt.
Thank you, Ramesh. And once again, we welcome the viewers of DD India from India and abroad who are tuned into this very special broadcast. Prime Minister Modi in Jakarta. Selamat datang. Well, we are standing by for the big ticket diaspora event. But earlier today, we had that very powerful address by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, historic in many ways, unprecedented in many ways, when he addressed the House of Representatives of the Indonesian Parliament. All that and much more. In the next 2 hours, we will get you continuous coverage. We'll be talking to a reporter as well. And most importantly, the impact, the significance of this visit. Remember, there are already 20 MOUs and agreements which are already inked and are on the anvil. Much more on the other side. Stay with us.
All right, so on his first leg of his three-nation visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Jakarta, where he addressed the Parliament of Indonesia, underscoring the deep-rooted ties between the two countries. Addressing members of the Indonesian Parliament, the Prime Minister said India and Indonesia stand together at a pivotal moment in history.
That's right, Ramesh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi noted that when India and Indonesia stand together, they reinforce the world's faith that democracy creates opportunities and builds trust. Referring to Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto's remarks on copyright made earlier in the day, Prime Minister Modi said that his friendship with President Prabowo transcends all boundaries of copyright.
आज सुबह प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो ने कॉपीराइट की बात कही थी। मैं उन्हें यही कहूंगा, इस प्रेम पर, इस स्नेह पर, इस दोस्ती पर, इस आदर भाव पर किसी का कॉपीराइट हो ही नहीं सकता। प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो से मेरी मित्रता कॉपीराइट की सारी सीमाओं से परे है।
Now, Prime Minister Modi highlighted the deep historical and strategic ties between India and Indonesia. He said both nations are among the world's most youthful societies. They are major maritime powers and represent a strong voice of the global south.
Yes, and with that, Prime Minister added that the relationship between India and Indonesia goes beyond the seashores, as they also share a common history and cultural and civilizational connect.
भारत दुनिया का वो देश है जो विस्तारवाद नहीं, विकासवाद की नीति पर चलता है। और इसलिए हम भारत में कहते हैं, सबका साथ सबका विकास। हमारी राजधानियां भले ही हजारों किलोमीटर दूर हो, लेकिन समुद्र में हमारे बीच केवल 150 किलोमीटर की ही दूरी है। दूसरे देशों में समुद्र भले ही सीमाओं और दूरियों का कारण रहा हो, लेकिन भारत और इंडोनेशिया के बीच समुद्र दूरी का प्रतीक नहीं रहा। समुद्र हमारे बीच एक सेतु है। ये हमारे साझा भविष्य का केंद्र है। इंडिया, इंडोनेशिया और इंडियन ओशन, ये नाम हमारे आपसी जुड़ाव की गवाही देते हैं। हजारों वर्षों तक हमारे पोर्ट्स दुनिया को जोड़ते रहे।
The Prime Minister said that India and Indonesia will strengthen their centuries-old civilizational ties by connecting them with the aspirations of the younger generation.
Yes, and Prime Minister welcomed a new era in the India-Indonesian partnership or India-Indonesia partnership and unveiled the Ganga Mahakam vision to deepen bilateral cooperation and also shape a shared future for both countries.
मैं भारत इंडोनेशिया साझेदारी के एक नए युग का आह्वान करता हूं। गंगा और महाकाम की धाराओं की तरह हमारी सभ्यताओं ने सदियों से विचारों, आस्था, व्यापार और संस्कृति को जोड़ा है। आज उसी ऐतिहासिक प्रवाह को भविष्य की नई ऊर्जा देने के लिए मैं आप सभी के समक्ष गंगा महाकाम विजन प्रस्तुत करना चाहता हूं। ये विजन हमारी साझेदारी को केवल वर्तमान की आवश्यकताओं तक सीमित नहीं रखता। यह आने वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए शांति, समृद्धि, सुरक्षा और शेयर्ड प्रोग्रेस का मार्ग प्रशस्त करता है।
And earlier in the day, the Prime Minister and Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto held official talks in both restricted and delegation level formats in Jakarta.
Yes, the two leaders reviewed the entire spectrum of comprehensive strategic partnership which encompasses trade and investment, defense and security, maritime cooperation, digital and financial technology, energy, healthcare and pharmaceuticals, space, critical minerals and rare earths, culture, tourism, agriculture, as well as people-to-people exchanges.
The two leaders welcomed the launch of Indonesia Open Network based on Open Network for Digital Commerce of India to mark the centenary of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's visit to Indonesia in 2027. The Prime Minister announced that the two countries would jointly celebrate the occasion as Tagore Devantara Year for Cultural and Educational Diplomacy.
The two leaders also exchanged perspectives on regional and global issues of mutual interest.
And Prime Minister Modi held talks with Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto, focusing on strengthening bilateral ties, trade and investment.
Yes, the two leaders reviewed the full spectrum of India-Indonesia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, which includes investment, defense, maritime cooperation, security, healthcare, as well as energy, space, critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, rare earths, culture, tourism, and people-to-people contact. Both leaders discussed issues of global and mutual interest and also reaffirmed their shared commitment to peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific.
So India and Indonesia took a step towards deepening their strategic partnership with the exchange of a series of agreements and legal instruments.
Yes, and these initiatives span, as we mentioned earlier, critical areas like defense, like maritime security, space cooperation, critical minerals, technology, infrastructure and cultural conservation. Agreements include cooperation in the exploration and peaceful use of outer space, memorandum of understanding on maritime safety and security. Another MOU was signed including cooperation on disaster management, critical minerals and technology for resilient supply chains, telecommunications technologies and services, research technology as well as innovation. And most importantly, following the success of India's indigenous defense system, Indonesia will now expand its BrahMos missile inventory, with India providing additional missile batteries.
A letter of intent on India's support for the conservation and restoration of UNESCO World Heritage Site of the Prambanan Temple Complex, Jakarta, was also exchanged. Addressing a joint press conference with President Subianto, Prime Minister Modi highlighted the democratic synergy between the two nations.
2018 में बनी हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप आज एक नई उड़ान ले रही है। हम डेवलपमेंट, सिक्योरिटी, टेक्नोलॉजी, कल्चर और एजुकेशन हर क्षेत्र में महत्वपूर्ण कदम बढ़ा रहे हैं। मुझे विश्वास है आज से भारत इंडोनेशिया साझेदारी का एक सुनहरा अध्याय शुरू होगा। हमारे देशों के बीच बढ़ता विश्वास हमारी रक्षा, सुरक्षा और मैरीटाइम सहयोग को मजबूत कर रहा है। आज हमने डिफेंस एक्सचेंज, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट और इंडस्ट्रियल सहयोग बढ़ाने पर सहमति बनाई।
Joining us on this special broadcast, Ambassador Gurjeet Singh, former Indian ambassador to Indonesia, and Dr. Sandeep Tripathi, foreign affairs expert in our DD India studio. Namaste to both of you. Ambassador Gurjeet, it's always such a pleasure talking to you, sir, especially with matters related to Indonesia, since you represented India as an envoy there for a very long time and you understand the country and its culture so well. But I would like to start with the address of Prime Minister Modi to the Indonesian Parliament, which was little more than 30 minutes. What do you think was the larger message there? Prime Minister, from enumerating the priorities of the global South to shared vision as far as Indo-Pacific region is concerned, their respective positions, from reforms in the multilateral institutions to how both countries, as one of the powerful and largest democracies of the world, can do so much together, and in the words of Honorable Prime Minister, for the good of humanity. And when he says we are partners forever, from civilizational linkages to keeping this engagement to keep the momentum of the engagement with Indonesia in that continuity, sense of continuity. In your sense, what do you think, where has this relationship reached now?
Very pertinent question. Will you allow me to digress a bit?
A bit, sir.
I see continuity in these pictures. So you see this lady walking with the Prime Minister?
The Speaker.
She is the Speaker of Parliament. Her name is Puan Maharani. And she is continuity in vision. Her father was President Sukarno. Her mother was President Megawati Sukarno, Putri. So she is the second generation, but both her parents have been presidents of Indonesia, and she is now the speaker and very fond of India. So, and look at her name, Puan Maharani. So, I mean, very much Indian.
India.
Now, Indonesian parliament has actually 3 chambers. There is the lower house, which she is the speaker. There is a partyless upper house, no parties. So that is called the DPD. So the speaker of that is also sitting among the 5 in front. And then the 2 houses together form the MPR, which meets only rarely, but it has its own speaker. Unlike our joint sessions of parliament where the speaker or the vice president will preside, here there's a separate speaker. So that person is also sitting there among the 5 besides Puan Maharani and President Prabowo. That aside now, you asked me a very pertinent. I think Prime Minister's succinct speech is a game-changing one. Mm-hmm. He said, I see a new era in India-Indonesia partnership. And I think he gave tribute to the love and affection and respect that President Prabowo has shown towards him. And he has spoken about the Indo-Pacific, the Mahasagar, and the linkages across oceans as the great unifier of our civilizations. So that was bringing the past where the oceans actually connected us and brought Indian traders and thought leaders to the kingdoms of Swarnabhumi. But he's saying the same thing is happening now. So I think that is extremely significant. And if you place it in the current regional context,
yes,
that is all for a greater role of Indonesia in the Indo-Pacific beyond the ASEAN position. That is unstated. But that is what the call is. And I think that is where we are expecting Indonesia to step out of ASEAN consensus and play a bigger role in the Indo-Pacific, like the Philippines is playing and like possibly Vietnam would play. So I think this was a tribute not only to our partnership, the role of the oceans and the importance of Indonesia in it.
And with that, the role of the ocean and monitoring our seas, our maritime security / sovereignty in that sense. Plus, do you think the speech also resonated in many ways, the personal connection between the two leaders? The speech was powerful yet very subtle, and there were personal moments, and I'm sure the way it drew applauses from the lawmakers there, and there was this personal connect that one could feel when Prime Minister said that I thank the children, the women, the people of Indonesia for such a warm welcome. I'm really touched, and this is going to be one of the memorable day of my life.
Very true. I think that was very gracious of Prime Minister Modi to say so. And I have not heard too many foreign leaders say this formally. So obviously, when you talk about your children, your wives and your families, all the people around you, they get, smiles come on their faces, and you can see the thought, kuch hota hai, going across their faces. The body language of the members of parliament was very, very positive today. I mean, it was amazing to see that. Yes, very gracious.
Yes, sir.
Right. Let's also bring in Dr. Tripathi in the discussion. Dr. Tripathi, it's day 2 of the Prime Minister's visit to Indonesia. How is that shaping up? What are your first impressions? And also, looking forward to the Prime Minister's address to the Indian diaspora in Jakarta. What can you tell us about the diaspora in particular, given the fact that President Prabowo will also be accompanying the Prime Minister for that event?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. And see, this visit, Prime Minister visit in Indonesia, it marks, first of all, to strengthen our comprehensive strategic partnership that was finalized in 2018. But I look this visit beyond this strategic calculation. See, the first, when he was trying to say that ocean has some symbolic, ocean has some symbolic message. And he says that Indonesia and Jakarta, the New Delhi and Jakarta bonding.
Dr. Tripathi, do hold your thoughts there. Let's also remind our viewers that these are the visuals coming to you from Jakarta of the Prime Minister witnessing a cultural performance ahead of his address to the Indian diaspora in Jakarta.
Please go ahead.
Right, if you're just joining us, these are the latest visuals coming to you from the venue of the Prime Minister's address to the Indian diaspora.
It's a
cultural
welcome
performance
ceremony,
indeed,
sort of, yes.
organized in his honor. Dr. Tripathi, do finish making your point there.
Yeah. See, this diaspora something, see, if we decode Bijil, so many minutes, just 10 days before his Bijil was in Seychelles. So diaspora remains the key component of Prime Minister's visit of any country. And of course, when we talk about the Indonesia, he highlighted the cultural bond between India and Indonesia. Thousands years back history and the cultural bond, deep emotional connectivity. Sometimes it goes beyond strategic calculations, and sometimes it provides a fertile land to go ahead in terms of the strategic partnership. And that's why the defense, maritime security, energy security, all the strategic components, it lies under the backdrop of this diaspora connect. And see the cultural identity between the two nations. Even in the phonetics of the names of the great leaders, for example, Sukarno, even the current president, Subianto, show lots of similarities between India and Indonesia's cultural capital. One. Second is Prime Minister is already highlighting that this is very crucial for Indonesia and India for in the Indo-Pacific order, not because of the strategic calculation, but because of the sheer value of democracies. Because and he highlighted that geographically we might be far, but but culturally, democratically, we are very close to each other. This is somehow that place foundation that makes close proximity
Indeed.
India and Indonesia.
And let's stay on these visuals for the moment of the Prime Minister witnessing a cultural performance in his honor ahead of his much anticipated address to the Indian community in Jakarta. And while we are on this visual circle, I'd be remiss if I don't remind the viewers that Ambassador Singh, for one, is the author of many books, including two which come immediately to my mind.
Yes.
One is the Durian Flavor,
Yes.
India and ASEAN after a decade of the Act East policy. And the second one would be Masala Bumbu,
Boom, boom. We spoke about
enhancing
it
the
yesterday. He was on the show.
India-Indonesia
Yeah.
partnership. Right, while we are on these visuals, Ambassador Singh, would you like to come in as well and talk to us about the Indian diaspora, given your familiarity with the people and society there? Also, talk to us, if you will, about the civilizational ties, linguistic affinities, and so on.
Yes, thank you. So the Indian diaspora largely has three traits. One is that diaspora which came in colonial times and set up trading houses in Jakarta, or the ones in Sumatra around Medan were largely the Tamil and Sikh people who came through Malaysia. Then the second phase is of investors who came in the 60s and 70s of the last century, who set up base in Indonesia and have been there for almost 60 years. And the third is the large amount of professionals and others who have come, let us say, in the last decade and who make up a bulk of the numbers. This includes professionals in health, in education and in technology who are employed by Indonesian companies, whereas earlier their main professionals were employed either by Indian investors or by multinationals. So I think I've seen some names in the list which will meet the Prime Minister among business people, and there are certainly people who have got recent acquisition of Indian human resources. Now, what you see in this picture of the leaders of the Indian community is a mix of, I would say, all three. You see the established investors, you see some people of Indian origin who are there, who have been there for a long time, whose families there for a long time, and then some people or professionals who are there in more recent times. The population of Indians has really grown, and even 10 years ago when I was there, it was not this big. But I think the people who are performing now, they are perhaps from the Jakarta Bengali Association.
Yes, Bengali.
Who have always been very active. I remember attending their Durga Puja every year.
Yeah.
Always very active and well organized.
It's a
So I think
traditional,
more and more.
it's a Bengali traditional welcome ritual, a welcome dance with a very traditionally style of draping saris, and that's again a glimpse of Little India, and this time in Jakarta. So we spoke to you yesterday also that wherever Prime Minister lands on a foreign soil, one gets to see the glimpse of Little India there, our cultural tapestry on display, thanks to the Indian diaspora. And we must also tell our viewers the visuals after this. Yes, these are the select members of the Indian diaspora. They have the rare honor of being photographed with their leader, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And that feeling, Ramesh, no matter wherever you are, but your heart belongs to India and home is India.
Indeed, it's become like a hallmark of sorts for the Prime Minister's foreign visits, where he makes it a point to reach out to the diaspora wherever he travels to. It's become a routine of sorts for him to engage with the Indian community, the diaspora, on his foreign overseas visits, and it's no different this time as well in Jakarta. We're witnessing a cultural performance in his honor.
Yes. We are also standing by for that diaspora address from the Jakarta International Convention Center, and that's the venue on your screen. And as we stay and continue to talk about the significance of this visit, Sandeep, coming to you, you were making the point about the significance, so far the messaging, and this is one such visit of Prime Minister to Indonesia in particular, which has been keenly observed, watched by those who don't have much stakes in Indo-Pacific, but the ramifications are going to be long drawn, isn't it? So far we have voluminous deliverables on table. We are looking at 20 MOU/agreements in defense, in critical minerals, in maritime security, considering we've been talking about the Malacca Strait angle and the whole maritime security aspect. Very important.
I say, look, whole the areas of bilateral relations, Indonesia and India, I think the backdrop is this cultural cementing. Because see, our Prime Minister highlighted that 21st century is a tech-driven century. And we know that our UPI is very popular in Indonesia. And our DPI is, you may call it as a technological export. India's tech industry export as a DPI model. When India talks about to amplify the global South voice, Indonesia joins this hand. So I think all the geostrategic, all the calculation in terms of maritime security, in terms of any kind of
geopolitical alignment, basically.
Yeah, political alignment. Yeah, political alignment in terms of your security. For example, we are talking to jointly develop Subang port, which is very close to Strait of Malacca. So all the strategic calculations are based on this is some highly cultural connect. And the cultural, once you are very cultural connect, I think, and see the personal message. See,
so you're saying that leveraging the cultural connect, the civilizational connect, adds a lot to the already existing strategic, because this is something that you don't get to share with every country, right?
Exactly. But
are we leveraging that advantage here?
Very important point that you cannot share, you cannot have a kind of leverage with every country.
That was
but this is phenomenal that our Prime Minister visited any kind of country has the same calculation. Like diaspora, culture, see the Seychelles, see the European countries, see the France, each and every, we have reinvented the cultural ties. A diaspora, and that's why he had stated in the past that each and every citizen in terms of the diaspora act as an ambassador.
I just want to take this point because we have a very highly distinguished former diplomat on the show who has served in this country itself. Sir, the whole diaspora connect, leveraging our diaspora connect, leveraging our cultural and civilizational connection with certain countries, how much does it matter when we talk about the diplomatics and the hardcore diplomatic ties and business transactions that you share with that particular country?
It softens the manner of running the relationship a lot. Really softens. So I think the diaspora soft part is immense. And I really respect it, and I'm glad at the level of Prime Minister, they're always given due respect and recognition wherever they go. I've got so many messages over the last few days at how people in Jakarta are looking forward to going and meeting the Prime Minister, being at that event. And that is so, I mean, the enthusiasm is palpable. I know in the past visits have happened where the Indian diaspora had hardly a glimpse of what had happened, but now they are fully involved in the visit. And what you will see, as I believe, that President Prabowo will probably come to the same event and join the Prime Minister. That is what I was told.
That is also unprecedented. I mean,
yes, unprecedented. No, well, I think last time when Prime Minister went there, President Jokowi walked with him around the Monas where the event was taking place, and they flew kites together and they did, various. That was the day event as far as I remember. but this is an evening event, so this is indoors at the convention center. Certainly the size of the diaspora is so huge that earlier we could manage in a ballroom of a hotel, but now you need a convention center. And I think the fact that we give so much credence to these events also gets a reciprocal interest from the diaspora, who then clearly see themselves as ambassadors of India in that country.
Indeed, Ambassador Singh, just to take that point forward, you're correct. President Prabowo is expected to join the Prime Minister for the diaspora event. In fact, he will also be traveling with the Prime Minister on Wednesday, where the two leaders will we head to the Prambanam temple as well. So he's been with the Prime Minister on all 3 days of his visit. And also talk to us a bit, if you will, about the linguistic and religious affinities that exist between the two countries.
Yes, so, Bhasa Indonesia, which is spoken by Indonesia across the country now, across the archipelago, is an artificial language created in the 19th century. It was a language created to unite the diverse parts of Indonesia, many of whom had developed languages and literature, but some who only had a colloquial language. But bringing Bhasa Indonesia up and then introducing it into the education curricula, starting a whole literary process in the language, has served Indonesia's unity well. They still have Javanese and various Sumatran languages, very much so, but everything is now done in Bhasa Indonesia. Now, Bhasa Indonesia heavily borrows from different languages, and there are about 30,000 words in common between Sanskrit and Bhasa Indonesia. For instance, if you go to an event congratulating somebody, you will see the large hoardings saying Dirgayu, Dirgayu, long life.
Long life.
Yeah, not heard so easily in India, but very commonly heard there. Some military ranks are called Gatot. Now, Gatot is an abbreviated form of Ghatotkach.
Ghatotkach.
And Ghatotkach is deeply marveled for his strength. So his military rank is often Ghatot, something like a lieutenant colonel. And that is. Second thing, as I mentioned yesterday, husband is Swami and the wife is Istri. So that is a simple way of saying, see, this is so common to us. And so many other words. I mean, offhand you will not make them out, but when you
like
hear
Garuda,
them,
the airline, Ambassador Singh, or Samudra, for instance.
Yes, Garuda is very widely respected as the airline and mount of Vishnu. At the Prambanan temple tomorrow, there is also a temple to Garuda, Nandi and Hansa, the mounts of Vishnu, Mahesh and Brahma. Then, the Hanumanji is the, if I'm not wrong, the symbol of the intelligence agency. If you go to their office outside, there is Hanumanji. And Ganesh Ji
Ganesha,
has
yes.
often been used. Yes, also on their
entrances.
20 rupiah currency note at one time. So
And the house entrances also. So they have temples, especially we get to see that in Bali. Every house there has a courtyard, and in that courtyard is a small structure, temple-like structure, where you see the statue of Lord Ganesha. They revere it. There's a ritual they follow. So that deep cultural connection. Coming back to this whole, at the end of it, where have we reached, and what is the kind of uptick? What is the shift, or is at all there a shift when it comes to India's, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the regional outreach? Ambassador Gurjeet, for you, and Sandeep, you can take that one as well later. Getting Indonesia's voice in the 11 Nations Committee, I'm talking about ASEAN, where there are different aspirations and they do have their own relationship with the rest of the world. Do you see there could be any challenges also going further? Because of course diplomacy is, you don't have to be on the same page, and your friend may not necessarily be my friend. But in this case, The world has changed in the last few years. So what do you foresee in future?
So all ASEAN countries have a very strong economic embrace with China. But strategically, they like to maintain a distance. But again, this is not a generic statement. Some countries don't mind being closer, like Laos and Cambodia, and some would like to put a greater strategic distance between themselves and China. Now, most of these countries, to hedge their strategic autonomy, seek closer engagement with other regional middle powers like India, Japan, Australia, but each country has their own preference. All countries are not reaching out equally. Like, for instance, the Philippines reached out to Japan and Australia first and then established a strategic partnership with India, whereas Indonesia and Vietnam already have strategic partnerships with India. With Indonesia, the strategic partner was announced in 2005 and the comprehensive strategic partnership in 2018. Whereas with ASEAN, the strategic partnership only came in 2012 and the comprehensive strategic partnership in 2022. So you see this time lag between what Indonesia did and what ASEAN did is a clear evidence that sometimes ASEAN is outrun by Indonesia in its engagement with India. Now when you look at Mahasagar, Sagar, Indian Ocean Rim Association, there I think Indonesia has played a more vital role. Among the 4 ASEAN countries who are within the IORA, Indonesia is the only one who has chaired IORA in 2017 and actually even held a summit that year. So they have at times taken positions which are quite forward-looking.
Right.
So as a consequence of Prime Minister's speech today, I expect Indonesia to take ASEAN plus steps towards the Indo-Pacific and towards engagement with India.
Okay, okay. Sandeep, would you like to come in there?
Indonesia stands a very crucial role. For example, Indonesia is a member of course, founding member of ASEAN as well as the member of BRICS also. And we know that today's the growing influence of BRICS in terms of the challenging of the US has been in all. So in that perspective, I see Indonesia as a bridge, especially when we talk about the regional security. Of course, it plays a very important role in terms of the economic engagement, India's economic engagement with the ASEAN country. And see, when we talk about the Act East policy, during that calculation, Indonesia remains crucial for India, and that is why, see, State of Malacca, why we are talking about to develop Subang Port, why we are talking about to pilot project with Singapore and all. So those Malaysia, Singapore and Indonesia, especially to focus on State of Malacca, at a time when there was lots of discussion of the supply chain disruption and Strait of Hormuz. So in that context, I think
so the timings and the intent of this visit is directly proportional to the geopolitical disturbance, alignment, realignment, what's happening, supply chain disruption, energy crises.
Exactly. I would like to focus this point also. This is the defense cooperation. See, the defense BrahMos supply to Indonesia and Astra air-to-air missile to Indonesia. It is just because to monitor and to safeguard Indonesia maritime security from the Chinese expansionism. And that's why today's Prime Minister declaration that India does not believe on any kind of expansionism policy. We are very clear about the people-centric cooperation.
Just a quick one here, since you spoke about the expansionism. The whole expansionism/protectionism, which is in a way hallmark of a certain country. Yeah. Now, their equation with the ASEAN, Indonesia, led by Indonesia, and with us, the whole rubric, in the context of the supply chain disruption, I think you have already preempted my question. This visit is going to be keenly watched because it's far-reaching consequences, the impact, the spillover effect. Exactly. Because we don't believe in hegemony, we don't of any kind, and weaponizing resources, energy crises. We believe in sharing of resources, and this visit also cannot be ignored or seen in terms of continuation. You see, you look at those 5 European nations, big or small, and then you, Prime Minister visited Seychelles, and then there was engagement, a very fruitful engagement with the Japanese Prime Minister also. All this, you can connect the dots.
Exactly.
Where the direction India wants to take.
See, the chronology is very important that you highlighted. It's not ceremonial. It has some it is philosophy from Eastern Indian Ocean to from Western Indian Ocean Seychelles as to continuous visit as the Indonesia as the Eastern Indian
From
Ocean.
Norway to Indonesia.
Exactly.
And then France is also there. And then Slovakia is also there.
Exactly, Slovakia. And see, very important point, in all bilateral visits, one nation will be counted where 40 years, 30 years, no Prime Minister will have been visiting there. In Slovakia, when European trip, and this New Zealand also.
Yeah.
So this is very important point that a country which is small in population and generally overlooked by great power politics, like generally focus on the major powers. But this is a very important point that when he was in Europe, Slovakia was chosen. When in this trip, New Zealand has been picked
included,
up. So
yes.
this is something very important to focus on. See, when we talk about the maritime security, see, we have seen the disruption, energy disruption in the Strait of Hormuz. We don't want to any kind of disruption in our neighborhood. And that's why at least 4 countries, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia, they are very careful about the Strait of Malacca.
So we're also, Ramesh, in a way opening up as far as our
We
resources.
don't want to choke. We don't want to choke Strait of but at the same time, we have to protect this Strait of Malacca from any kind of expansionism. And that's why this cementing, cultural cementing, always provides a fertile ground to connect. Somehow when Prime Minister says people-centric, the Prime Minister says 21st century tech industry. Our industries, our businessman in the coal, in gold, in nickel is very strong in Indonesia. So this cultural ties provides you somehow a smooth expansionism in terms of cultural, not geopolitics. So I think this visit becomes very crucial for China, because China is observing, okay, BrahMos.
Yeah.
BrahMos. What BrahMos is not something about. See, let's looks beyond this commercial gain. It somehow protects Indonesian maritime security. That is crucial for us. So, and at the same time, see, when you are talking about the its positioning, political positioning of Indonesia. Indonesia is a member of BRICS, and there is lots of differences within the BRICS, lots of differences within the ASEAN. But at one point, all BRICS countries and all ASEAN countries are agree that yes, India is in a position to lead the global southwise.
So India is their common denominator.
Exactly. This is the common denominator. This is a common ground where all countries are. India has a kind of leverage to create a force.
Very relevant point. Yes.
Common voice. That's the point. And see, what is the reason behind this? To bridging the differences is one, your cultural outreach. Why they are focusing diaspora always? See, there is a UAE and Iran. There is a UAE in Iran. In ASEAN, some countries very close to China.
Right, Dr. Tripathi, do hold your thoughts there. I hate to interrupt you there. We're getting the live visuals from the venue of the Prime Minister's address to the diaspora. You can see the Prime Minister being accompanied by the President of Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto.
Ladies and gentlemen, kindly remain standing for the national anthems, Indonesia Raya, followed by Jana Gana Mana.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
May I respectfully request their excellencies to kindly take their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, I request you all to kindly be seated as well. May I now invite Mr. Abhishek Yadav, Co-founder and Chief Operating Officer of iMoto Technologies, an Indo-Indonesian electric vehicle and battery technology company, to share his thoughts on our shared goals of climate championship.
Selamat malam, Namaskar. Your Excellency, President of Indonesia, Bapa Prabowo Subianto, Your Excellency, Prime Minister of India, माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी, ये हमारे लिए अत्यंत सौभाग्य का विषय है कि आज इंडोनेशिया की धरती पे हमारे बीच हमारे चहेते माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से हमें मिलने का सौभाग्य मिला है। इंडोनेशिया में रहने वाले भारतीय जो भारत की संस्कृति में पले बड़े हैं, जिनको भारत के संस्कार मिले हैं, उस कारण से वो इंडोनेशिया के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में योगदान दे पा रहे हैं और भारत और इंडोनेशिया के संबंधों को मधुर बनाए हुए हैं। Your Excellencies, I am very honored to be present here today in the presence of Bapa Prabowo and Prime Minister Modi ji. We, the people of India, are very blessed to be based in Indonesia, and we have found success here because of the leadership in Indonesia under Excellencies Bapa Prabowo. We have found the Indonesian community to be very thankful and welcoming to us. I am very proud and honored today to present about iMoto. The journey of iMoto started in the year 2021 with the aspiration of building a world-class electric mobility company which contributes to the industrial transformation of Indonesia. Currently, iMoto operates a state-of-the-art Industry 4.0 battery and electric vehicle manufacturing facility in Cikarang, about 1 hour's drive from Jakarta. Bapa President, we are very proud to announce that iMoto is amongst the only 2 electric vehicle companies in Indonesia which fully design, develop, and manufactures batteries and electric vehicles in-house. Bapa President, we'll also like to inform you that our factory is entirely operated by women, reflecting our belief that energy transition should also create opportunities for inclusive growth, empowerment, and skill development. Mananiya Pradhan Mantri ji, we would like to thank you for creating a congenial startup ecosystem in India. The lessons learned in India of innovation and entrepreneurship, we have tried to apply them in Indonesia as well. The aspirations of iMoto are looking beyond Indonesia. Pradhan Mantri ji, with your blessings, we would like to start manufacturing in India as early as in the year 2027. We would like to bring the legacy of our manufacturing capabilities we have developed in Indonesia and combine them with the innovation and speed in India. Both Bapa Prabowo and Prime Minister Modi are champions for climate. We at iMoto, with every vehicle we produce, contributes to lower emissions. We cut the pollution in the environment and contribute to a sustainable goals. We thank you for listening to our story, and we seek your guidance and blessings in our journey ahead. Terima kasih. Dhanyawad.
Thank you, Mr. Yadav. I now request Ms. Nona Efita, an expert staff at the General Elections Commission of Indonesia, assistant professor at Universitas Multimedia Nusantara, and a youth icon, to share her thoughts on the India-Indonesia Connects.
Your Excellency, yang terhormat Bapak Presiden Prabowo Subianto, selamat malam Bapak. Your Excellency Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi Ji, Namaskar. Distinguished Ministers, Honorable Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. It is a profound honor and privilege to stand before such a distinguished gathering. My name is Nona Evita, and actually I'm Indonesian national, but my forefathers came from Sindh in India. I serve as an expert staff at the General Election Commission of Indonesia, where I contribute to strengthening democracies through election administration, voter education, public communication, and international cooperation. Besides my role in public service, I'm also an academic, a former journalist, a former Putri Indonesia favorite, and actively involved in Indonesia's creative economy movement. Although these journeys may seem different, they all have been driven by the same purpose: building public trust and creating meaningful connections between institution and society. Through my work, I have come to realize that Indonesia and India are connected not only by history, but by shared values. Both of our nations are home to extraordinary diversity, yet we continue to believe that unity is built not by making everyone the same, but by giving every voice the opportunity to be heard. So these are the essence of democracy. And I'm really sure it has inspired me and all of us in here. And also, besides India's democratic journey, I also have come to admire India's remarkable achievements in creative economy and digital innovation. So these areas where India and Indonesia can learn from one another and for sure grow stronger and together. At last, may our friendship can continue to be stronger than a distance, deeper than history, and also brighter with every generation. Thank you, terima kasih, dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Ms. Efita. I now request Mr. Arijit Sen Majumdar, co-founder of the Caring Nature Wellness Yoga and Ayurveda Center, to elaborate on the grandeur of yoga in Indonesia and around the world.
Selamat malam, His Excellency Bapak Presiden Prabowo Subianto, and Namaste, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi Ji. My name is Arijit Sen Majumdar, and I am the co-founder of the Caring Nature Wellness, which is a yoga school and an Ayurveda and Wellness Institute as well. First of all, I'd like to thank our Honorable Prime Minister for starting the commemoration of International Day of Yoga and bringing yoga into the global limelight in such a manner, which we can see in all over Indonesia. Yoga has become so popular that yoga has become an integral part of the daily life of all Indonesians. You will get amazed to know, sir, that Pa Didit, the son of Honorable President, is also a dedicated yoga practitioner, and he has his own yoga studio, everyone. Honorable Prime Minister Modi Ji, I have been living in this country for many years, and I also have lived abroad as well. I find Indonesia and Indonesians are such a welcoming country and people, and they have huge appreciation for India Indian culture, and Indian achievements. I truly believe that India and Indonesia, they are twin nations. From the bottom of my heart, I like to thank all Indonesian. Terima kasih banyak semuanya. And especially, I would like to thank His Excellency, Bapak President Prabowo Subianto, for being so generous and supportive to us. Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Prime Minister Mananiya Shri Modi ji, I would like to congratulate to have the historical victory in the West Bengal Assembly elections. We do believe that we will see a very much developed West Bengal under your leadership. Being a proud Indian and being a Bengali, sir, I would like to ask you, what is your vision for West Bengal? Thank you very much, sir. Terima kasih semuanya. Terima kasih banyak, Pak President. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Sen Majumdar, and all the speakers for their gracious remarks. It is now my privilege to invite His Excellency Bapak Prabowo Subianto, President of the Republic of Indonesia, to address the gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Honorable President onto the stage.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, and distinguished members of the Prime Minister's delegation, members of the Indonesian government attending, and national leaders who are here, members of the Indian community in Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar. It is a great pleasure to be with all of you this evening. Once again, let me extend a very warm welcome to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his visit to Indonesia. I had the honor of being the chief guest of honor on the Republic Day celebration, January 26, 2025. I was just inaugurated as President of Indonesia only 3 months before, October 20th. And I was greatly honored to be the chief guest because India's first Republic Day celebration was in 1950, and the chief guest at that time was the first president of Indonesia, President Sukarno. So, destiny maybe made me the 8th president of the Republic of Indonesia. As you know, 8 is my lucky number. And actually, I keep finding the number 8 all through my career. I had wanted to be the 7th president, but destiny made me the 8th, so it's okay. Thank you for inviting me here. Just before I made my state visit to India, I had what is called a genome sequencing test. I tested my DNA, and I found out I had Indian DNA. No, this is true, you know. And that's why I think every time I hear some music, especially Indian music, I find my body moving. Today at the state banquet in our palace, you know, state banquet, very formal. But I cannot help, my ministers, my generals, they all like to dance. They all like to sing. Maybe most of them have Indian DNA also. No, it's true. Most of my ministers, they sing Indian songs very well. I see there's a band tonight. So we had a very good meeting today, and it is true. We are 2 of the largest democracies in the world. No, I think, 2 out of the 3 largest democracies in the world. And democracies is not an easy path, not an easy system. It's not easy. Sometimes it's very messy. But I think we are agreed that it's the best system for justice, for hope, for inclusiveness. And there are dangers in democracy. There are pitfalls. There are obstacles. There are people who want to hijack democracy. But we cannot surrender. We must believe in democracy, and we must strive to maintain democracy. It's the best way of all the systems that we have tried, that human civilization have tried. So I'm very happy today to see a young Indonesian member of our election commission, yes, and we are very closely learning from the Indian Election Commission, and very frankly, we see India a country of 1.4 billion people, many, many ethnic groups like us, many different regional languages, but managing so many years of peaceful transition of government in many states and in the Union of India itself. This is a remarkable achievement, and Indonesia, I myself also study this and follow the remarkable achievements of India. In fact, I don't want to be involved in domestic Indian politics. I'm a friend of all Indians. But I want to admit one thing, and my close associates and colleagues will testify, that I am an admirer, a great admirer of Narendra Modi ji. This is not nice words, you know, because I'm not a professional politician. The proof that I'm not a professional politician is I took part in 5 general elections. I lost 4 times. But I'm an admirer, and when even before I became president, I studied the policies of your Prime Minister. And because there are no copyright, you know, I copied many of his policies. But Prime Minister Modi graciously allowed me to copy his policies, so I cannot be sued in any court. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a very good speech already made here, but I don't think you want me to read this or... It's very good. The important thing is Indonesians must learn from the experience of India. We actually, our civilization, our culture, many hundreds of years strongly influenced by Indian civilization. Our language, I would say, Pa Falizon, Minister of Culture, our language, what, 50% from Sanskrit? Yeah. Many of our names are Sanskrit names. And therefore, there is this closeness, and we welcome more close cooperation. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me to join you tonight. I think I will conclude my short speech. The danger of any political leader is if he's given a podium and a microphone, he doesn't want to step down. So once again, I'm not interfering in Indian domestic politics, but I'm personal admirer of Shri Narendra Modi ji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those heartwarming words. It is now my distinct honor to invite the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, to address the gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming our Honorable Prime Minister onto the stage.
His Excellency President Prabowo, my dear friends, brothers and sisters, Salamat Malam. Namaskar, Vanakkam, Sat Sri Akal, Jai Jhulelal. केम छो? आजकल दुनिया में फुटबॉल फीवर चल रहा है। यहाँ इंडोनेशिया में भी फुटबॉल की दीवानगी जबरदस्त है और आप सभी वो एनर्जी, वो जोश यहां भी लेकर के आए हैं, दिखाई दे रहा है। और एक अजब संयोग बना है, शायद आपने भी नोटिस किया होगा, लेकिन मैं उसका जिक्र करना चाहता हूं। मैं जब भी इंडोनेशिया आया हूं, फीफा वर्ल्ड कप का तूफान छाया होता है। पहली बार 18 में जकार्ता में कार्यक्रम हुआ था, फिर हम 2022 में बाली में मिले थे और अब 2026 में फिर से जकार्ता में ही संवाद हो रहा है और तीनों बार इंडोनेशिया में फुटबॉल की गूंज रही है। लेकिन साथियों, इंडोनेशिया में यहां इन तीनों कार्यक्रमों का मैन ऑफ द मैच एक ही है। इंडोनेशिया में रहने वाले आप सभी लोग मैन ऑफ द मैच है। ये आपने इतना भव्य आयोजन किया है, आप भव्य भारत की जीती जागती तस्वीर बने हैं। यहां इतने सारे लोग आए हैं और साथियों, इस बार मैं अकेला नहीं आया हूं। इस बार मेरे साथ मेरे परम मित्र प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो भी मेरे साथ आए। आज अपनी बात शुरू करने से पहले मैं उनके स्नेह के लिए, उनके शब्दों के लिए प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो का हृदय से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। एक्सेलेंसी, यू आर अ ट्रू फ्रेंड ऑफ इंडिया। थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग हियर। साथियों, कल जब मैंने इंडोनेशिया के आकाश में प्रवेश किया और जब यहां पहला कदम रखा, तब से लेकर अभी तक जो अपनापन, जो प्रेम मुझे इंडोनेशिया के लोगों से मिला है, उसके लिए मेरे पास शब्द कम पड़ गए हैं। प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो द्वारा अपने मंत्रिपरिषद के साथियों के साथ एयरपोर्ट पर मुझसे मिलने के लिए आना एक यादगार अनुभव रहा। इंडोनेशिया में भारतीय संस्कृति के प्रति जो प्रेम है, उसकी एक झलक आज मुझे राष्ट्रपति भवन में भी दिखाई दी। यहां के लोगों का उत्साह, बच्चों की मुस्कान, युवाओं का जोश, सब कुछ अवर्णनीय था, अद्भुत था। मैं जहां जहां गया, जिस किसी से मिला, हर चेहरे पर भारत के प्रति प्रेम, सम्मान और आत्मीयता साफ दिखाई दी। वैसे मैंने देखा कि यहां भारत का गाना कुछ कुछ होता है, बहुत ही लोकप्रिय है। आज मैंने प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो इस पर कहा कि जब भारत और इंडोनेशिया साथ मिलकर चलते हैं तो कुछ कुछ से भी आगे बढ़कर बहुत कुछ होता है। साथियों, आज सुबह ही मुझे इंडोनेशिया का सर्वोच्च सम्मान प्राप्त करने का भी सौभाग्य मिला। ये 140 करोड़ भारतीयों का यश है। ये भारतीय समुदाय के आप सभी साथियों का सम्मान है। और सबसे बड़ी बात, ये पुरस्कार इंडोनेशिया और भारत की घनिष्ठ मित्रता का एक और प्रतीक है। मैं इस मंच से भी राष्ट्रपति प्रबोवो, इंडोनेशिया की सरकार और यहां की जनता का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, पिछले साल 26 जनवरी को भारत ने अपना गणतंत्र दिवस धूमधाम से मनाया। 26, 2 और 6, 2 + 6 = और मेरे मित्र का जन्मदिन भी 17 है, 1+। उस समारोह में प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो चीफ गेस्ट के रूप में आए थे। उस यात्रा के दौरान हमें कई विषयों पर विस्तार से चर्चा करने का अवसर मिला, लेकिन उस यात्रा की एक बात मैं आज खास तौर पर याद करना चाहूंगा और उस बात को बड़े गौरवपूर्वक आज राष्ट्रपति जी ने यहां भी बड़े डंके के चोट पर बड़े शान से उल्लेख किया। मिस्टर प्रेसिडेंट, आपने उस समय कहा था और आज फिर से कहा, और आपने उस समय भी कहा था कि आप में इंडिया का डीएनए है। आपकी उस बात, एक बात ने, आज भी मैंने देखा सबसे ज्यादा तालियां उसी समय पड़ी, और भारत में भी करोड़ों करोड़ों भारतवासियों का दिल आपने जीत लिया था। उस एक वाक्य ने भारतीयों के दिलों को छू लिया था। मैं आपकी ही उस बात को आगे बढ़ाता हूं, जिस डीएनए की बात आपने की थी और जिस डीएनए की चर्चा आज आप सबके लिए कर रहे थे, वो डीएनए आखिर है क्या? वो डीएनए म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट से बना है। वो डीएनए साझी विरासत से बना है। वो डीएनए साझा स्मृतियों से बना है। वो डीएनए उन समुद्री हवाओं से बना है जिन्होंने हजारों वर्ष तक हमारे जहाजों को एक दूसरे के तटों तक पहुंचाया। साथियों, भारत इंडोनेशिया संबंधों का डीएनए उन संतों और बौद्ध भिक्षुओं से बना है जिन्होंने ज्ञान को सीमाओं में नहीं बांधा। यह उन उद्यमियों से बना है जिन्होंने केवल मसालों का व्यापार ही नहीं किया, बल्कि संस्कृतियों के सेतु भी बनाए। यह डीएनए को उन कलाकारों ने गढ़ा है जिन्होंने रामायण और महाभारत को अपनी अपनी भाषा में जिया, लेकिन उनकी आत्मा को एक ही रखा। भारत इंडोनेशिया के संबंधों को इंडोनेशिया के जिंदादिल नागरिकों ने, यहां बैठे अनेक परिवारों ने सींचा है, संवारा है, हमेशा समृद्ध किया है। साथियों, दुनिया में अक्सर दो देशों के रिश्ते एग्रीमेंट्स और एमओयू से आगे बढ़ते हैं। कई देश रणनीति से जुड़ते हैं तो कुछ ट्रेड से नजदीक आते हैं, लेकिन भारत और इंडोनेशिया का रिश्ता सभ्यताओं का है, सागर का है। साम्राज्य आए, साम्राज्य चले गए, समुद्री रास्ते बदले, दुनिया की राजनीति बदली, लेकिन भारत और इंडोनेशिया के बीच ये सूत्र हमेशा हमेशा कायम रहा और यही हमारी सबसे बड़ी शक्ति है। साथियों, आज दुनिया कनेक्टिविटी की बात करती है, लेकिन हमारे पूर्वजों ने तो इस कनेक्टिविटी को जीकर दिखाया था। आज दुनिया की सप्लाई चेन्स भरोसे के अभाव में टूट रही है, लेकिन भारत और इंडोनेशिया ने उस समय सप्लाई चेन का भरोसा जिंदा किया था जब ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन की चर्चा भी नहीं थी। और मुझे खुशी है कि आज भारत और इंडोनेशिया उसी भरोसे की पूंजी के साथ मिलकर एक नया फ्यूचर लिख रहा है और इस शानदार फ्यूचर के बहुत बड़े लाभार्थी आप सभी लोग हैं। इंडोनेशिया में रहने वाले भारतीय समुदाय है। साथियों, आजकल सोशल मीडिया का जमाना है और सोशल मीडिया के जमाने में कोलैब की बड़ी चर्चा होती है, लेकिन भारत और इंडोनेशिया तो सदियों से कोलैब करते आया थे। इंडोनेशिया के कुताई में पुराने संस्कृत शिलालेखों की वजह ये कोलैब ही रहा। नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी में यहां के स्कॉलर्स के पहुंचने की वजह ये कोलैब ही तो था। कटक का बाली यात्रा उत्सव हो, महानदी में केले के तनों से बनी नावों को चलाने की परंपरा हो, वयांग कुलित में महाभारत का मंचन हो, वैशाख पिलग्रिमेज हो या देवी श्री की पूजा हो, हर परंपरा में भारत और इंडोनेशिया का ये कोलैब साफ साफ दिखाई देता है। साथियों, भारत और इंडोनेशिया के कोलैब का ये इतिहास जितना पुराना है उतना समृद्ध भी है। सुमात्रा का मुआरो जाम्बी प्राचीन काल में नालंदा का एक सिस्टर इंस्टीट्यूशन हुआ करता था। मुझे बहुत संतोष है कि अतीत की उसी ट्रेडिशन को आज हम रिवाइव कर रहे हैं। आप सभी जानते ही हैं, अब नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी नए अवतार में सामने आई है और वहां इंडोनेशिया के भी अनेक स्टूडेंट्स ने एडमिशन लिया है। यानी 21वीं सदी में अतीत की प्रेरणा से हम दोनों देश एक नए भविष्य की दिशा तय कर रहे हैं। साथियों, भारत और इंडोनेशिया दिल से भी करीब है और भूगोल से भी निकट के पड़ोसी है। भारत के ग्रेट निकोबार द्वीप से इंडोनेशिया के आचे की दूरी लगभग 150 किलोमीटर है। सोचिए, भारत के एक द्वीप से इंडोनेशिया भारत के राज्यों से भी ज्यादा करीब है। इंडोनेशिया में आने वाले हर भारतीय को यहां अपनापन महसूस होता है। यही कारण है कि वर्षों से हमारे दोनों देश ट्रेडिशन, टूरिज्म के माध्यम से एक दूसरे के साथ जुड़कर हमारे रिश्तों की लीगेसी को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। आज जब भारत नए पोर्ट्स बना रहा है, नए शिप्स पर काम कर रहा है, नए सी रूट्स को एक्सप्लोर कर रहा है, नई पार्टनरशिप के माध्यम से मैरीटाइम ट्रेड को आगे बढ़ा रहा है, तो ऐसे समय में इंडोनेशिया हमारे लिए फेवरेट फ्रेंड बनकर हमारे साथ उपस्थित है। साथियों, इंडोनेशिया हो या फिर भारत, हम दोनों ही देश विकास के लिए अधीर हैं और वाकई बहुत अधीर है। हमारे पास न रुकने का मौका है न थमने का। इंडोनेशिया की प्रगति के बारे में यहां अभी कुछ भारतीयों ने बताया है। हिंदुस्तान से मैं भी आपके लिए भारत की प्रगति की अनेक गाथाएं लेकर आया हूं। आप सुनना चाहते हैं ना? जरा आवाज जोर से आए तो पता चले। साथियों, आजकल आप जब भी भारत के बारे में सुनते हैं तो एक चर्चा सबसे पहले आती है, हेडलाइन बनती है, भारत की इकोनॉमी। कोई कहेगा इतने ट्रिलियन डॉलर की इकोनॉमी हो गई है, कोई जीडीपी ग्रोथ की बात करेगा, कोई बताएगा कि पिछले 10-12 वर्षों में इकोनॉमी में इतना उछाल आ गया। आपको भारत की एक से बढ़कर एक उपलब्धियां सुनने मिलेगी, मिलती है ना? बताइए तो। हाँ। आज भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था दुनिया की ग्रोथ को ड्राइव करने में बड़ी भूमिका निभा रही है। जब दुनिया पर कोरोना का इतना बड़ा संकट आया तो भी भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था ठप नहीं पड़ी। जब वेस्ट एशिया का इतना बड़ा संकट चल रहा था तब भी भारत की इकोनॉमी थमी नहीं, बल्कि पिछले वर्ष का जो लास्ट क्वार्टर मार्च में खत्म होता है तब हमारी ग्रोथ रेट 7.7% रही है। ये गति, ये प्रगति ऐसे ही नहीं आई है। भारत ने एक के बाद एक रिफॉर्म्स किए हैं, हमने लगातार परफॉर्म किया है और इसलिए आज देश ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रहा है। रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म, ट्रांसफॉर्म, इस मंत्र को लेकर के हम चल रहे हैं। साथियों, भारत ने आज जो ग्रोथ हासिल की है ये 140 करोड़ लोगों के सपनों की ग्रोथ है। ये करोड़ों भारतीयों के एस्पिरेशंस की ग्रोथ है। आप सभी भी उस सपने से अलग नहीं है। इंडोनेशिया में रहने वाला हर एक भारतीय उस सपने का साझेदार है। साथियों, भारत की ग्रोथ में जो स्पीड और स्केल है, उसको एक लाइन में बताना हो तो मैं कहूंगा 1.4 बिलियन एस्पिरेशंस इन मोशन। आज भारत के गांव देहात से लेकर शहरों तक का नागरिक एस्पिरेशन से भरा हुआ है। हर किसी में ये आत्मविश्वास आया है कि हां, हम ये सफलता हासिल कर सकते हैं। साथियों, मैं आपको एक उदाहरण देता हूं। आप भी जानते हैं कि हर इंसान के लिए अपने घर का सपना कितना बड़ा सपना होता है। और भारत का आंकड़ा सुनिए। भारत में पिछले 10-12 साल में 4 करोड़ से ज्यादा गरीबों को सरकार ने पक्के घर बनाकर दिए हैं। ये आंकड़ा इतना बड़ा है कि इतने तो कई देशों में कुल घरों की संख्या भी नहीं होती है। साथियों, जब लोगों को अपना घर मिलता है, एक सम्मानजनक जिंदगी मिलती है, तब इन करोड़ों भारतीयों की एस्पिरेशंस को गति मिलती है। ड्रीम्स मोशन में आते हैं। साथियों, मैं आपको भारत में सोशल सिक्योरिटी कवर का दिलचस्प आंकड़ा दूंगा। 12 साल पहले भारत में 25 करोड़ लोगों के पास सोशल सिक्योरिटी कवर था। आज करीब 100 करोड़ भारतीय सोशल सिक्योरिटी के दायरे में आ गए हैं। और अब जो आंकड़ा मैं आपको बताने जा रहा हूं, वो सुनकर आप हैरान ही रह जाएंगे। भारत में एक योजना चलती है, प्रधानमंत्री सुरक्षा बीमा योजना। इस योजना के तहत साल में सिर्फ 20 रुपये में, एक साल में 20 रुपया सुनाई देता है ना? एक साल में सिर्फ 20 रुपये के प्रीमियम पर 20 रुपये के प्रीमियम पर 2 लाख रुपये का एक्सीडेंटल इंश्योरेंस मिलता है। यानी एक महीने की एक कॉफी जितना भी खर्चा नहीं है। दुनिया में ये कहीं मिले न मिले, लेकिन ये भारत में मिल रहा है। और इससे भारत के करीब 60 करोड़ लोग कवर्ड है। साथियों, एक दूसरी योजना भी है, पीएम जीवन ज्योति बीमा योजना। इस योजना में हर रोज के करीब एक दिन का 1.5 रुपया, हर रोज के करीब 1.5 रुपये के प्रीमियम पर लाइफ इंश्योरेंस मिलता है। एक रोज के सिर्फ 1.5 रुपया, यानी एक कॉफी भी 1.5 रुपये से ज्यादा कीमत लगती है। और भारत में अभी 28 करोड़ लोग इस योजना से जुड़े हैं। साथियों, सरकार की इन दोनों योजनाओं के तहत अब तक करीब 22,000 करोड़ रुपए का क्लेम लोगों को दिया जा चुका है। 22,000 करोड़, 22,000 करोड़ रुपीस। लोगों के जीवन में जब संकट आया तो सरकार उनकी साथी बनकर उनके साथ खड़ी रही है। साथियों, आज भारत में एक और ऐसी व्यवस्था बनी है जो अभूतपूर्व है, शानदार है। ये है डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, डीबीटी। एक ऐसी फुल प्रूफ व्यवस्था है जिसमें बिना लीकेज लाभार्थियों तक पूरा पैसा पहुंच जाता है। अभी एक सज्जन आए थे, वो पूछ रहे थे कि बंगाल के लिए मेरा विजन क्या है। ये विजन है डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, नो लीकेज, नो कटकी। और ये पैसे भी सीधे उनके बैंक अकाउंट में। आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं, बीते 12 साल में, ये आंकड़े जरा आपको चौंकाने वाले हैं, बीते 12 साल में 50 लाख करोड़ रुपए, 50 ट्रिलियन रुपीज की मदद डायरेक्ट लोगों के बैंक अकाउंट में भेजी जा चुकी है। 50 लाख करोड़ रुपए। साथियों, जब ऐसी व्यवस्था बनती है तब लोगों का भरोसा बढ़ता है, तब लोगों में आत्मविश्वास आता है, और तब 25 करोड़ भारतीय गरीबी को हरा करके, गरीबी को परास्त करके, गरीबी से बाहर निकल करके शान से जिंदगी जीने का आरंभ करते हैं। साथियों, मैं आपको एक और डेटा देता हूं। आपने ये सुना होगा कि दुनिया की जितनी रियल टाइम डिजिटल पेमेंट्स होती है उसकी करीब 50% अकेले भारत में होती है। दुनिया की 50%। आज भारत में हर दिन 75 करोड़ से अधिक डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन होते हैं। 75 करोड़ से अधिक, यानी डे टू डे लाइफ में कैश लेकर चलने की मजबूरी नहीं रही है। और हालात तो ये हो गए हैं कि लोग डेबिट कार्ड का पासवर्ड भूलने लगे हैं, बैंक एटीएम का पासवर्ड भूलने लगे हैं। बस यूपीआई से ही, मोबाइल फोन से ही काम हो रहा है। साथियों, जब सपने बड़े होते हैं तो सरकार के काम करने की स्पीड भी उतनी ही तेज हो जाती है। आज भारत में आप जाएंगे तो चारों तरफ हाईवे और एक्सप्रेसवे बनते हुए दिखाई देंगे। 12 वर्ष में हाईवे निर्माण की स्पीड 3 गुना बढ़ गई है। ये भी दुनिया में वन ऑफ द फास्टेस्ट है। इस दौरान भारत में एक्सप्रेसवे की लंबाई 100 किलोमीटर से बढ़कर 3000 किलोमीटर तक पहुंच चुकी है। और भारत के जो ये बड़े सपने हैं, इसको भारत का युवा ड्राइव कर रहा है। 12 साल में ग्लोबल क्यूएस रैंकिंग में भारतीय यूनिवर्सिटी की संख्या 11 से बढ़कर 50 से अधिक हो चुकी है। आज भारत के नौजवान बहुत बड़ी संख्या में पेटेंट फाइल कर रहे हैं, इनोवेशन को गति दे रहे हैं। इसलिए तो आज भारत 2 लाख से अधिक रजिस्टर्ड स्टार्टअप्स वाला देश है। 2 लाख से अधिक, करीब 125 यूनिकॉर्न्स वाला देश है। और तभी तो मैं कहता हूं कि भारत सिर्फ फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी नहीं है, भारत में बिलियन प्लस ड्रीम्स इन मोशन है। साथियों, हम भारतीयों को ताजा खाना जरा ज्यादा पसंद होता है। गर्मा गर्म हो तो बात ही कुछ और होती है। इसलिए मैं भारत के सामर्थ्य का एक सबसे ताजा उदाहरण देता हूं, गर्मा गर्म। इंडोनेशिया आने से 2 दिन पहले, यानी 4 जुलाई को, मुझे एक ही दिन में देश को 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक के प्रोजेक्ट सौंपने का अवसर मिला। एक दिन की बात कर रहा हूं मैं, 4 जुलाई की। 1 ट्रिलियन रुपीज के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट्स एक ही दिन में भारत इस स्केल पर काम कर रहा है। साथियों, भारत ने 4 जुलाई को एक बहुत बड़ी रिफाइनरी शुरू की है और इस रिफाइनरी में जो मटेरियल लगा है वो भी कम हैरान करने वाला नहीं है। इसमें जितना स्टील लगा है उससे 40 नए एफिल टावर बन जाते हैं। इतना स्टील लगा है कि 5 बुर्ज खलीफा तैयार हो जाते हैं। इस रिफाइनरी के निर्माण में इतनी लंबी केबल यूज हुई है जिससे पूरी धरती के 2 चक्कर लगा सकते हैं। ऐसे ही अभियानों के कारण आज भारत रिफाइनिंग कैपेसिटी के मामले में दुनिया में टॉप 4 देशों में पहुंच चुका है। साथियों, 4 जुलाई को ही इस रिफाइनरी के अलावा जोधपुर में एक शानदार भव्य एयरपोर्ट शुरू हुआ। छोटे छोटे शहरों तक हवाई कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ाने के लिए 28,000 करोड़ रुपए की उड़ान योजना लॉन्च की गई। जयपुर के मेट्रो नेटवर्क को इसी दिन विस्तार मिला और इसी दिन भारत के तीसरे सेमीकंडक्टर प्लांट ने भी काम शुरू कर दिया। यानी एनर्जी से लेकर कनेक्टिविटी और चिप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग तक भारत अनस्टॉपेबल है। साथियों, आज का भारत सिर्फ अपने सपने पूरे नहीं कर रहा, बल्कि हर मित्र देश के सपनों के साथ है। भारत सबका साथ, सबका विकास के मंत्र पर चलता है। इसलिए अपने पार्टनर्स के साथ मिलकर नए अवसर बनाता है और उन्हें भी नए अवसरों से जोड़ता है। भारत की आत्मनिर्भरता इंडोनेशिया के लिए, पूरे आसियान रीजन के लिए भी एक मल्टीप्लाइंग फोर्स है। आप हेल्थ सेक्टर को ही लीजिए, आज दुनिया के हर 5 में से 1 हर 5 में से 1 जेनेरिक मेडिसिन भारत में बनती है। यूनिसेफ की जरूरत की लगभग 60% वैक्सीन भारत से आती है और इसका लाभ इस पूरे क्षेत्र को भी होता है। हम अपने दोस्तों के लिए जो कुछ भी कर पा रहे हैं उस पर हमें बहुत गर्व है। साथियों, मैंने आपको भारत की इतनी बातें बताई हैं, अब आपको मेरा एक और काम करना है। करोगे? करोगे? आपको अपने इंडोनेशियन फ्रेंड्स को भारत के बारे में बताना है। बताओगे? और उन्हें भारत आने के लिए आग्रह करना है। अब तो जाकार्ता से मुंबई के लिए, बाली से दिल्ली और बेंगलुरु के लिए इतनी सारी डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट्स हैं। इससे भारत आना जाना बहुत आसान हो गया है। साथियों, भारतीय समुदाय में भी जो नई पीढ़ी है, जो युवा है, उनको भी आपको भारत के बारे में बताना है। इंडोनेशिया में इंडियन कम्युनिटी के बच्चों के लिए भारत को जानो क्विज को शुरू किया गया है। इसमें यहां के बहुत सारे बच्चे पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं। कर्टेन रेजर इवेंट में ही मुझे आपका बहुत उत्साह दिखा है। 6th एडिशन में हमने एग्जाम फॉर्मेट को छोड़कर अब इस पूरे कंपटीशन को गेमिफाइड किया है। मेरा आग्रह है कि आप सब युवा साथी इसमें पार्टिसिपेट कीजिए और सोशल मीडिया पर मेरे साथ अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कीजिए। साथियों, भारत और इंडोनेशिया जितने इतिहास से जुड़े हैं, उतना ही हमारा फ्यूचर भी शेयर्ड है। हमारे अवसर साझा है, हमारी चुनौतियां साझी है। जब योग दिवस आता है तो हम साथ योग करते हैं और जब सुनामी जैसा संकट आता है तो हम साथ मिलकर उसका मुकाबला करते हैं। हम दोनों देशों के बीच का भरोसा, हम दोनों देशों के बीच बहुत बड़ी ताकत है और हमें इसे मिलकर निरंतर मजबूत करना है। आप सभी भारत इंडोनेशिया के प्रॉस्परस फ्यूचर की साझा कड़ियां हैं। अपने इस रोल को और बड़ा करना है। इसी भाव के साथ एक बार फिर मैं प्रेसिडेंट और मेरे परम मित्र प्रबोवो, आपका, इंडोनेशिया की जनता का हृदय से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं और आप सभी को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। भारत और इंडोनेशिया मित्रा सेलामान्या। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और कल मैं राष्ट्रपति जी के साथ उस पवित्र मंदिर के दर्शन के लिए जा रहा हूं। और कल तारीख क्या है? तो हमारा नाता भी इतना मजबूत है। और राष्ट्रपति जी, मैंने इतनी सारी योजनाएं बताई हैं, मैं आपको वादा करता हूं इस पर कोई कॉपीराइट नहीं है। न कॉपीराइट है, न रॉयल्टी का कोई क्लेम है। सबका साथ, सबका विकास, यही हमारा मंत्र है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Dhanyawad Modi ji. Terima kasih. Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, for your heartfelt and moving message for all of us. I now request His Excellency Bapa Prabowo to kindly join Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji on the stage. On behalf of the Indian diaspora and friends of India in Indonesia, we extend our sincere gratitude to their excellencies, Bapa Prabowo Subianto and Shri Narendra Modi ji for their kind and inspiring words. Please join us in thanking them once again. We wish Modi ji a wonderful visit of Indonesia and wish you both a very good night. Selamat malam. Salam Sajatra, Jai Hind.
All right, you were watching the live coverage of the Prime Minister's address to the Indian diaspora, the community there in Jakarta. Also present on the occasion was Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto. The Prime Minister speaking about India's economic growth, potential advances in digital public infrastructure and so on. He spoke about how Indian economy is reforming, performing and therefore transforming the country. And he also spoke about the mutual trust that's present between both countries and the governments in particular, shared heritage, shared memories, and how the connectivity between the two countries will keep the two countries, governments and peoples in good stead in the days to come as well.
Yes, shining India's story, growing India's story, and Indian DNA, he said, is all about mutual trust and shared civilizational links. It was a speech which almost lasted for 45 minutes, drew thunderous applause from the audience and including Indonesian president. All in all, this address once again resonated the personal relationship, the warmth, the bonhomie and the trust and the shared future as far as both nations are concerned. And on this broadcast on DD India, Selamat Datang, Prime Minister Modi in Jakarta, me and Ramesh and our entire team will take your leave. Meanwhile, news and updates continue on DD India. Also take this opportunity to thank our special guests on the show. Sandeep ji, bahut bahut dhanyawad. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for staying with us.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.